So we're going to talk actually about the match. We're going to, we could sit and talk all day about each stage, about things, but we just kind of go over the overviews. So day one started on Friday. Let's start back up to Thursday, right? So we get there Thursday. We go hang out with Clay Warriors and his partner, Ben O'Neill, and we go out there and shoot. They've got a pretty cool little mock range set up. We can actually run a few courses. He's got 6 or 7 stages set up there, he said. Mm-hmm. Especially for Jason not being able to shoot it, actually know what you're walking into. But I guess tell me about, you shot there last year with us, didn't you?
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Talk about the stages, and let's talk about how about you, Andy? Describe kind of the match overview of what we would do.
The way the match runs is 3 field courses, 8 stages in each field course each day, and then followed by either 1 or 2 assault stages, depending on how much agony Zach wants to impose on the competitors.
He does have a little bit of a masochistic streak.
Yeah, just a little bit. And then with the way that field courses run is basically each stage in the field course, you ruck to them, and then when you ruck to the field course, or the stage of the field course, they set you up, and you have 6 minutes from the time you drop your gear. And from that 6 minutes, you have to find, range, and engage each of the targets. Gas gunner gets any 3 of the targets in the field. You have like 2x3s, so in that case, he has to shoot all 3 from one position, and then there's a second position. Primary shooter has to shoot their targets from position 1 and position 2. And then
so you have basically a max of 9 points per stage is what you can get. So 3 from the gas gunner, which Andy and Jason both shot gas gun, and then the bolt gunner each, which would be Josh and myself, will get a chance to get 6 targets. So 9 points total per stage.
You run basically stage to stage. It takes you roughly about I'd say 3 hours. 3 hours, give or take, depending on how fast.
It's like a nice 18 holes of golf, but a lot more fun.
You run through that, and when you finish up, you come back. If you leave around like 9, I guess you get back around noonish. And then you get time to set up for your assault stages. And the assault stages we did this year were a little bit interesting. A little less assaulty, a little bit more thought-provoking, I guess. One was a team communication stage where I had to give descriptions of faces and targets, and then you had to reference them to numbers at 300 yards.
We'll get all the details of that. And then can you talk a little bit about the scoring of it? Just because I know you kind of understand a little more detail.
So the way the scoring runs is a percentage-based scoring. So basically, you have the number of hits is how they calculate your raw score per day. So on each course, you have 9 targets or 9 points available each, 9 impacts available on each stage. 8 stages, 72 points available all day long. Each target you drop, obviously that number goes down. And then how they handle that is the top score gets basically 100% or 100% of the points. And then everybody gets a percentage of those points based on like the drop number they have. So like if I drop 10% of my targets, then I go down to 90 points, right? Of 10% of whatever the top team shot. And that's the same way I believe they run it in the assault stages. There's pros and cons to that scoring system, but it
is very technical, right? And it's complex and technical, but Zach's been running these matches for a long time. And how many matches, just to guess, how many matches do you think you've run in your lifetime?
Run? Less than 10.
No, how many matches have you competed in? Sorry.
Probably about 50.
Yeah, so scoring systems sometimes can get kind of
sure, yeah.
Yes, it's kind of tricky. So I don't understand it fully yet. But the good thing about it is that we know there's no, as we say, fuckery involved in it, right?
Yeah,
it's straight up.
Yeah, it's fuckery free.
So that's a good explanation. That's why I want to end Lee. He's really good about dumbing really smart things down for us dum-dums. So it's good to have him here on that one. And what stage did y'all start on, Cav, on Friday?
We were north course, west course, south course. Okay.
Which north course is personally my favorite course. I love the north course. I don't know why. I just think it's beautiful all the way out. So if you don't mind, Cav, kind of walk us through the different aspects of the 3 different courses. Because they're all very different, right?
Yeah, they have their strengths and weaknesses, right. I would say. So north course, you're shooting a little bit further. Lanes are more narrow, so there's not as wide of a field to scan.
And what he's saying by that is when you walk up, and they were saying you have 2 positions, they give you, it's yellow paint. Typically, I think there's one or 2 fields where there were yellow ribbons.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you, hey, this is your left array, this is your right array, your left limit, right limit. So you know that if I'm scanning, if my rifle goes outside this yellow line, that target's out of my limit. You have to be very careful of that because there will be targets really close to your array or your limits. So you have to be really careful to watch your array or your limit. So that's one thing. Just RO, you're constantly telling them, hey, you're out of your limit. So that's what he's saying about really a lot tighter limits.
Yeah.
Or
Narrow limits, longer distances on north. I
and
would
also
say
the closest targets, right? On north. There was one.
closest targets were on west.
They had that one at 56 yards, I think. I think that was in the north quarter.
Straight down the hill,
Yeah, were you looking straight down?
maybe.
Yeah, but either way, yeah.
I don't want to give away too many secrets.
Yeah.
Each course has those types of targets, but west course probably has a little bit more difficult positions to shoot from, the rocks and the trees and everything else. And then south course, the most difficult to find targets.
Yeah, because you're fighting the sun coming up in the mornings, right?
They're all positional shooting stages. They're all fields of fire, but just generally speaking, north is further targets than the rest, and then south has harder to find, and west course is positional shooting intensive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I'll add, difficulty on the courses is kind of skewed different ways. Like, in my opinion, if you look at North Course, right, it builds you up throughout the day. Like, you start off and you're just kind of like, you inch your way up, and I feel like the lanes get a little bit easier or a little bit more predictable, I should say. So if you're consistent, then you generally build your score up high. I think Cav we started off like a 6 or 7 or something, and then we just kept gradually going 8, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, and all the way through. And then when you went to like the West Course, that one was the weird U. Like, you started off feeling great, shoot 9, and then they put really tiny targets at really, really messed up distances, and basically they tank your entire self-esteem throughout the middle of the course, and then slowly build you back up to targets that are just right in front of your face again. You're just drilling again, and then of course South Course is a steady decline.
Yeah. So y'all did South Course on Sunday.
correct.
Yeah.
In the rain.
Okay. And we'll talk about the rain and what Sunday was like for all of us in a second too. So, and that kind of leads to Jay. So Jay, what was your favorite? What was your favorite course?
Saturday.
Yeah, North Course. So North Course is, like I said, my favorite. Maybe because we shot it well. I don't know, but
That helps.
yeah, it does. So and that's they kind of let you know from the competitor side of it, what it looks like and what the different terrains and difficulties were. The 3 different courses themselves were all in northern New Mexico. The South Course has more terrain changes. You're hiking up and down. There's a hill you have to climb. I would like to know how that. I want to know how that is here in a second. How that was climbed on Sunday, and then the North Course, you're kind of looking out over to. I mean, nothing. You can't see there. It drops off, and you can't see anything for miles. You can see a train that's probably going. It's probably 5-6 miles from there. Right? You can see you see the plains, but you're shooting from elevated. In the West, you're kind of shooting. You're walking around a canyon. You're shooting different to ridge and stuff like that. So, which they also do that too. But Friday and Saturday, we had beautiful shooting conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Woke up, it was 50 degrees, high of 79, maybe 80. It was fantastic. And we were kind of like, man, low winds, relatively low winds for that area. And then we wake up Saturday morning at 5:30. So the time we loaded up. Sunday morning, loaded up at 5:30, and it started raining. It was 40 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't stop raining until
Price table.
price table basically. Price table would finally stop raining just long enough for us to get in our trucks and start driving and start raining again. Sterling, Justin, Jason, and I think you guys did the same thing. We loaded our vehicles and stopped once for gas and use the bathroom, and we didn't even think about stopping again. We just drove and drove and drove.
Yeah, we were soggy.
Yeah, it was a pleasant soggy drive home. But how was the South Course? How slippery was that hill? Anybody? How was it? Oh, what time did y'all step off Sunday? Sorry.
8:24.
It was still raining when y'all got there, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what was that like?
The first couple stages actually wasn't that bad. I think I went prone on one of the stages, and I mean I was expecting to get up covered in nothing but just mud, but because the way in New Mexico that dirt and that venue and blue steel is, it just sucks it all up. So it actually wasn't that bad. I mean, your tripods and everything get dusted with the fine grit. It just becomes a little coarser because of the water. That wasn't so bad. It wasn't until we ended up on stage 7 of South Course.
The top
you do
one?
the ascent.
Yeah.
And when you do that ascent, I mean, the ascent wasn't that bad, but the descent was a little rough because it had been raining all day. And I think I told Cav at one point, as I was descending down that hill, I put my foot down and I was like, I'm not stopping. and I pretty much surfed the entire.
Yeah. Just going skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know someone ate it there. I was looking for that one person covered in mud and I didn't see it. Someone ate it and they went home to change because there's no way. When we stepped out, it was funny because normally everybody's sitting by Stan and those guys waiting to go like 30 minutes before.
Oh no.
5 minutes. I saw Ben and them, the guys who were stepping out before us, got out as their time was going, and we got right after. It was still dark, and it was still raining. As soon as we stepped out, we got to the electric fence, which you had about a mile walk for the most part to each stage before we started. I think we covered about 4 miles, 3 to 4 miles a day is what we typically covered and walked. By the time we got to the electric fence, we were so soaked through it already because we didn't bring any shoes. We brought tinny shoes, or you brought your Howells, which you didn't realize were waterproof, but they were. I decided not to buy my Solomon Gore-Tex boots, shoes, because I was like, it's not going to rain, we'll be fine. That was a mistake because I was soaked all the way through. Rain jackets, you had your Victos rain jacket that worked really well. I had a windbreaker hoodie I thought was rainproof. Had a flannel under that. So by the time we got to stage, it was...
You were walking sponge.
I was full of water by the time we got to stage 1, and and as we were on stage 3, and all of a sudden we felt the wind. It's like, Jason's like, it's getting colder out here. I'm like, it is. It dropped about 10 degrees. I was like, this is going to be
a long day.
And then we cleared stage 1. I think everybody cleared stage 1 on the West Coast, on the West course. As soon as I did it, I didn't even care. I thought, I got to do this 7 more times today. That's all I can think of. That's how you know you're not having fun anymore. But like we talked about that, I would do it again right now. If we could go back and do that again, I would shoot it tomorrow. It's my favorite match to shoot.
I mean, the soggy factor of it. I mean, the problem is I did notice malfunctions. So New Mexico, that venue in particular is notoriously difficult on your guns. Period. Guns, optics, everything. Because you get that moon dust everywhere.
Back up real quick to Emily, talking about running, because you ran small frame last year, right?
Oh yeah.
And now this year you ran large frame, even though everyone said, "Hey, don't do it."
Well, I'll say this much: I fought.
I didn't say don't do it.
No, I'm talking about the Team Safari, all the Team Safari guys. He's like, no, you're gonna do it.
I'll say this much: I mean, running the small frame has its benefits. It ran like a sewing machine. Generally, the small frames tend to be a little bit more reliable.
Small frames meaning anything on an AR-15 lower, so 223, 6 arc. There's a long list of them, but anything running an AR-15 lower. Large frame meaning it's going to be an AR-10 lower, so 308, 6.5.
Yeah.
There's a long list of those as well too. That's what it means by the difference between small frame and large frame.
So when running the small frame stuff, I mean, it was like I was running standard 5.56, and it was running the 17-inch trier. Yeah, last year. And like I said, I don't think I had a single malfunction. I don't even recall really cleaning my weapon whatsoever throughout the entirety of the competition. It just ate it and didn't care. And then when we did the large frame, I was shooting large frame 6.5 Creedmoor, which has its own issues, just because the nature of a large frame, you have more mass, you got to carry more gas, everything like that. The gun itself ran fine when the conditions were good. The problem is when you get water and then all that moon dust starts really caking up.
It's crazy how fine that mud was.
But I'll say this much: the one thing I have to give credit where credit's due, Arrow actually has a fully functioning forward assist on their large frame AR,
which is not common at all.
Yeah, exactly. None of my other guns have it, and so because the bolt is so heavy, it slides in the battery every time. But in that grid, it didn't. And I operated my entire gun in one stage, doing nothing but cramming that forward assist back into place. Just you'd see me go light off around, and instantaneously, I wouldn't even assume it went back into battery. I just smashed the forward assist, and went back to the second round, and it allowed me to get this consistent shots.
That's pretty impressive considering, because even because day one, when you cleaned your bolt day one, your BCG, was it pretty dirty or no?
Yeah, it was dirty after day one.
And then he had some cotter pin issues, so you had to change. You actually went to different bolt carrier group, which ran fine. Day 2, no issues. Day 2, and then day 3, holy crap issues.
But I'll just say this much: when you pick your equipment for Safari, you want to do something that is going to run in literally the crappiest conditions you can think of. Like, imagine taking dust from your fireplace, ash from your fireplace, and just throwing it straight into your chamber, and then thinking, "Hey, is this thing still going to cycle?" Yeah. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, how many malfunctions did you have on Sunday?
I don't even remember. I know one time I cleaned the bolt right after a stage, and it malfunctioned.
Next stage, I think.
Yeah.
But then Jason finally pulled it out, took it, just saturated
Drenched it
in oil. Which oil did you use? Was it Ting's juice?
No, it was one just some various I
random?
picked up.
Yeah,
And,
so it soaked it in juice.
It's called X-Lube, not tincture.
X-Lube. X-Lube's great. It's
I don't know.
we didn't
That
have
actually sounds worse, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
It kind of does. Ting's X-Lube.
Yeah, but yeah, drenching that bowl.
And then never malfunctioned the rest of the day. But yeah, and then the assault stages. Let's talk about the assault stages. You guys did really well this year. I mean, for considering this is our second year to shoot that match, we have people who've been shooting that match for 10, 12 years.
I think Cav and I both jumped up a little over 30 plus spots in the rankings. I think part of it had to be that we shot a lot of matches together now, well, 4,
Yeah.
and team matches together. We learned the dynamic. We had good talk-ons. I mean, we really didn't have a lot of the equipment that other people had in terms of the clear bags or anything like that to mark your targets or anything like that. It was, Cav would be like, see target A, 2 o'clock, move 50 yards. I mean, I knew exactly what he was talking about.
You know, going from the tactical competitions, this one helps. That's what that really helps you guys. Is
Sure.
the tactical ones is a lot of spotter shooter conversations,
Yep.
right? Where these are not. It's more find the targets and get to work, right? Where you guys, I think that's really benefited you guys.
Yeah.
Which we should. That's a whole other video when you talk about all the other videos y'all been doing. So assault stage 1. So assault stage 1. Let's talk about that real quick. So assault stage 1, what you had to do is, and we'll tell you how Jason and I did it, and then they'll tell you the right way of doing it. You had to do is walk up. You had 2 partners. It was pistol and your rifles. Walk up. You had 6 targets, downrange, steel targets, and you had 4 different firing lines. They were 10 yards apart from each other. The last one's probably about 15 yards away from the targets.
Yeah, about that.
So shooter 1, which was me in this situation, went up and you had to shoot at the targets, engage, hit all 6 targets, and if I hit all 6 targets, Jason then picked up his pistol, shot all 6 targets, and then we were able to go up 10 yards. If shooter 1 missed any targets between 1 and 6, I had to pick up this 100+ pound dummy, and Jason and I had to, or you and your partner Jason and I had to move it to the next 10 yards. That was your penalty for missing, is picking up this dummy and winning it, right? So you couldn't drag it, you had to pick him up, because you didn't like being dragged evidently. So we do that, and you know, we do that all the way up to the front, and when you get to the very last line, you have to shoot, you actually have to hit all 6 targets, and then he has to shoot all 6 targets, and then you run over, pick up your primary, your boulder, your gas gun, and engage 2 targets 260 yards away. We were told they were about half that distance, but that doesn't matter, because by the time you're breathing so hard, you can't even hit them. Jason and I, not thinking about the gamification of this, we're trying to shoot freehand, and it did not work well, so we timed out. Now, the right way of doing that was...
I'm going to go ahead and say this. There wasn't really a right way to do it.
Wasn't this one. This was not the right way of doing that.
The nature of being...
It was the wrong way.
The nature of being, I guess, a lawyer and seeing the game factor of it, the way they described the stage, we gamed the crap out of the pistol section. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and we probably did so than most other people, meaning that what you did is if you missed at any point, like Brandon said, you basically had to advance. You could carry the dummy, but you get to advance basically 10 yards closer to your objective. But the trick is that both shooters had to hit all 6 of their targets with the first hit, no mics, to be able to get
Mike's meaning misses.
to be able to get all the way to the end without ever dragging the dummy. Well, so what I decided to do is I told Cav, I was like, this is like a 120 pound dummy. So I lifted it up and just held it over my shoulders, and I told Cav just intentionally miss. So he would draw, miss, we'd run 10 yards, I'd waddle with his dummy, and not put it down. Cav would draw, miss again, and we just basically waddled our way up in like 15, 20 seconds all the way to the front line, threw it down, we both drew pistol, cleared the 6 targets apiece in seconds, and then went on to shoot the targets. I think it was supposed to be 4, because we had to shoot all 4, but
6.
well, no, I mean at the rifle.
Oh yeah.
So it looked like a KYL rack, and then 2 of the targets were actually obscured because Zach is mean, and so you couldn't shoot it from like a bipod or even off like a sitting partner or something like that. So Cav and I just chose to shoot off each other as support. He shot off the shoulders of each other, and it helped. We finished the stage, and from what I understand, you either did or you didn't. That's kind of the way that one ran, and with the way we had it, it was pretty quick. But I ate muzzle blast in the face
Yeah.
Probably about 10 rounds, and I think I blew Cav's hat off with the muzzle blast of my gun. So
This one's kind of cool. I actually would like to. I'd like to run all these again today if we could. The Salt Sage 2. What you had to do is you had a shooter on a bench on a table that was looking downrange, and you had their partner sitting like this, facing one of the ROs. The RO held up a picture, and I'm not exaggerating. That's they all look like mugshots. Are they not? Like mugshots from the 20s and 60s. Is that what they were? They all mugshots. Okay. And you basically had to describe these pictures to your partner, okay? And the partner that was on the rifle would look downrange, and there was a face. They called it a face sheet. I think it was probably maybe 75 yards away.
40.
It's 40 yards away. Okay. So 40 yards away, and you had to look and identify the picture based off what your partner was describing to you. See the number, look downrange, and shoot the numbers, the target associated with the number that was associated to the picture that you're describing. So if you got it right, if he described this person to me, and I identified that person right, looked down range, took a shot, hit it, counts, right? You get a point. But if he describes it to me and I identify the wrong person, shoot, hit the target, or hit the wrong target, you lose a point. So you actually get negative points on this one. So Jason and I started on this one where Jason started on the rifle first. He's got them old eyes, so he missed some things. He couldn't see, and then we switched, and then I think I had a minute and some change left, and we got 2 out of there. So we actually got 1 point on that one. That was fun. I don't think we can go over the descriptions on this video. It's not being the most PC people when we're shooting. You're just thinking about what works. When you know your partner, that's another thing too. When you know your partner in this and they're good friends with them, you can say something, really random and like, oh, I know which one, boom, point, right?
I'm pretty sure we were known as the first team to go up with the most awful way of describing the target. But the point is that when the more awful we got, the faster.
Same with us.
He got on target. I mean, it was bad. I'm not going to say anything that I said, but
it works.
It does work, and I'll just put it this way. I think we scored 4 hits, but one of them was not supposed to be a hit, so I think we got 2 or 3 points. I forgot what it was. We scored 3 hits, and then of course one that we weren't supposed to hit, so we got 2 of them.
So yeah, that's the long and short of the match and how it went. Once again, cannot say enough thank you to Competition Dynamics for one, bringing us into this fold of these amazing competitions. 2, Clay and Tyson, thank you guys for inviting us to 5 states. So this is carried on, and because of this, we're shooting a lot more competitions, we're doing a lot more, and also just to all the competitors, man. That group of competitors. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it. I enjoy every second of it. Cannot wait to shoot more of them. They do 3 matches a year. Look up Competition Dynamics. Any match they do, if you've got the balls for it or the other bravery for it, go do it. It's a good time. I don't know what happened there. Any closing remarks from anybody? Andy?
I guess, again, just like you said, Jimmy and Zach hold phenomenal matches. They do 3 safaris a year, the Steel Safari, the Team Safari, and then the Safari Special, which is more of a hybrid of it's a little bit more fun. The targets are marked and all that stuff. Whereas Steel Safari is your solo, but you're doing the same thing you would in Team Safari. And then they also hold the First Ops Team Challenge, which is also
and the sack race too.
And the sack race, and so they do a great
which is
job.
For crazy people.
Yeah, absolutely. After we heard the number of miles they ran, but all in all, I mean, they hold a very solid match, and they're good people. And I think Chris Way and I talked about this before, but they garner more steady support than any other match that I've ever seen. I would tell you that if you go there, if you see any of us, you see Jimmy or any of them, they're the nicest people. Don't ever feel like you can't go up and approach virtually anybody in one of those matches, and they will be happy to help you. I won't say they'll always loan you gear, but I can tell you that the vast majority of them probably will. It's great.
Cav?
Good times. It's one of those matches that you put on your list to continue to go to year after year. Like, we did it the first time last year. This is our first time back. We'll probably do the individual Steel Safari this spring. Or summer, yeah. It's hot. But yeah, this is a repeat. Usually you go to a match, you like it or not, but you don't like it enough to go back again. This one is definitely a keeper, and in the rotation.
Rickster?
Next year.
You ready to do it
It's on the
again?
list.
Redemption.
Redemption, yeah.
I need redemption.
Yeah, it's just a good time.
I need redemption.
It was rough, man. It was rough. We'll see if we can get you a better partner next year. man, I can't. I've said enough. I love this. I love the sport. Want to shoot more? And come see us in some local matches. Follow us. If you see we're gonna be at a match, come shoot with us or come hang out and we'll let you run our rifles. Oh, Justin Locke got to get some rounds down range so you can get the bug in him. So, matter of fact, I think we're looking at a new team behind the camera here. So y'all might not, y'all might have another team sitting here with us next year. But just like everywhere else, Sterling, you want to shoot? No?
I
All right.
don't know if I can do that.
No, you can't. Hey, you keep on that camera.
Sick burn.
Accufire Team, all the socials. Thanks, guys. See y'all later.
Sick burn.